Hello, people. How's it going?
Hello, hello, once again.
Gibbon Himes.
I am the Himes that sometimes be skibbing.
It seems like it's been a week.
Really? Is it? No,
Maybe not.
maybe not. I know
Maybe
there, at
so.
least in my mind, there's a day or two missing somewhere.
Well, we don't want to talk about those days. That happens all too often. How are you people doing today? Welcome to AB Start Select number 5. It's actually the second one of us moving to Wednesdays.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, see, time travel. It happens.
I mean, I guess playing all this Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross. You know, things like
Especially
that are
after,
bound to happen.
especially after that long and grueling session on Saturday.
Yeah. God.
All right. Let's get the screen up here. It's rolling. You can thank Mr. Davey Ninja for the awesome art yet again.
Yeah, that was excellent. Did a great job as always.
Sorry, I'm moving my windows around real quick. When having 5 monitors does not help sometimes. Okay. We're going to try to keep it into an hour today because I have some Suikoden 3 to play right at the end of that game. So, that, and it hasn't been the fastest week, but there's a couple of things we can talk about, I guess. And following the previous format, we know we got to start off with at least a little bit of rage
A
somewhere
little
or
bit,
another.
maybe.
Especially the first one. Now, we talked about this last week, I believe, was a rage topic of yours, Mr. Skibbenheims.
Yes, it's still a rich
And,
topic of mine.
well, it's a
I'm
rage
still
topic of mine,
threatening to
too.
stab somebody.
Well, why don't you lead us into the Pip Boy troubles?
I mean, as we mentioned last week, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get one if you haven't gotten a pre-order in already without going the eBay route. And Bethesda has actually spoken on the issue and the problem as to why they cannot meet the demand for more units. And from what they've said is basically the company that is manufacturing the units, there was absolutely no more they could produce and have ready in time to ship and release. They just said they couldn't do it. Um, Even apparently when large dollar figures were flashed in their faces because it just was not possible. The other thing that's interesting, and I guess it goes to show you how good of a collector's edition item the Pip Boy edition is really looking like it's going to be to everybody, is that it sold out the way it did. And apparently they had more units of this collector's edition ready than the collector's edition for New Vegas or for Fallout 3 either. So they're making a lot of money. Somebody's getting really getting a really big bonus check for that Pit Boy edition idea.
Yeah, well, I have 2 points of being upset over this. I mean, the first one is definitely I wanted one. I'm a huge Fallout fan. In fact, I've played Fallout longer than you have, so
Yeah, you've played
I've
the
got
original.
fond memories of the first two. Um, so yeah, I'm upset that I'm not going to get one of these because it looks really awesome, and I'm not typically, as I said last week, a collector's edition adopter. I don't usually spend money for collector's edition items. That being said, this one actually had incentive for me to buy it, and that was the point. It was great advertising. Not that, and I think an important aspect is the game didn't need advertising. They could have come out at E3 and said, "Hey, by the way, there's a game called Fallout 4. It's coming out November 10th or whenever it is. See ya." And had no other advertising. The game still would have sold amazingly.
Yeah, it's one of those titles that's kind of like Half Life. They could announce a new Half Life
Exactly.
coming out like that, and that's all they have to do.
Well, my second point of rage is, yeah, they've interviewed these Actually, they haven't interviewed. They've interviewed someone at Bethesda. They have not interviewed a factory chief at whatever factory was producing these Pip-Boys. But the thing that I guess really bugs me about this is Bethesda had to have known that these things were going to sell like crazy. It's been, not only could this thing be interfaced into the game, but you're talking about a cosplay item. You're talking about something that people aren't going to just, people that are true Fallout fans, which there's a lot of, by the way, they're not just going to put it on their shelf somewhere and never look at it again. Much like my Halo helmet. That's useless. This is
or
something
my Max
that
Payne figurine or my Duke Nukem figurine.
figurine's perfect. Yeah, this is
Everything else
something that any conference you go to, any con you go to, you could easily include it into whatever ensemble you're wearing. You don't have to have the screen light up for it to be a Pip-Boy. I find it very strange that they couldn't secure more manufacturing for this item. It makes me think that there's something else going on along the lines of, they're saying they're not trying to make it a true collector's item as far as limited distribution, and I'm not accusing them of that. But it makes me think that they had some kind of bidding war on the manufacturing facilities, and this was the low bid, and they just locked in a contract that they're the only ones that are going to get to produce the item.
It probably so.
Because it makes no... Of course they're not going to share profits. This is all about money. The whole thing is about money. But why not run another run of... I mean... You're going to tell me that Bethesda, that this factory, whatever factory it is, I have yet to see a name for it. They probably don't want to be bombed, so they're not going to tell you the name. The factory can't produce anymore. Why? It's plastic and a couple of electronic components.
Well, the reasoning that I read was it wasn't that they can't produce anymore. They can't produce anymore and have them ready before launch. So that leads me to believe there's somebody in the line that's made the decision that for whatever reason, we are not going to produce any copies for post-launch sale.
Yeah, it just seems strange to me, though. I mean, it's the only item in the entire collector's edition box that's limiting anything. I mean, everything else is either media or paper. I mean, that's not hard to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's not a complex thing, but they had to have... The remark that it's sold better than any of the other ones, of course it has. It's not just a book with some music in it. We're not talking about an art book here. We're talking about not only a piece that is the game itself. The Pip-Boy is Fallout. It is the mascot of Fallout and has been from day one. But we're also talking about a fully functional unit. This, again, is not the Halo helmet. This isn't something you put on a shelf and it sits there and collects dust. Right. This actually works. It's a piece of electronics. Of course it's going to sell out. Whatever number they came up with, they should have doubled it. It would have sold. Even if it hadn't sold day one, it would have sold, after the game came out. Price may have dropped a little bit. I still think they'd been making plenty of money off of it. Let's face it. Mass manufacturing brings the price down of this stuff a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to know how much money per collector's edition they're making. Because, I don't know. It seems strange to me that they didn't know this was coming.
Yeah. And you know, it honestly seems strange to me outside of that. It's sold out the way it has. The demand is as huge as it is. It seems strange to me that they're going to make the decision, apparently, to not even attempt to make any units to sell that'll ship,
individually.
Ship later. Yeah.
Not even in the collector's edition. I mean,
or anything. Yeah, individually.
Here's the thing about collector's edition these days. Collector's edition video games are not like collector's edition artwork or anything like that. These aren't... They're limited runs, and that's the only thing that makes them more valuable than the regular game. I mean, it's not like they're sealed and certified. Now, the old ones were, but I'm trying to remember the last collector's edition I bought of anything. Probably Zillia 2. I have the collector's edition of Zillia 2. There is no number of authenticity or certificate in there now. The old ones used to have that.
Yeah.
My
Diablo, they've completely forgone.
Yeah, Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, 3, Baldur's Gate, they all have certificates of authenticity with the number of the print on it. Doesn't mean shit. It's a video game. No one cares. But for this, why not? You got something that can actually interface into the game. Now, I don't know how much use it's going to be. I think you can flip through your inventory and do minor things like that.
Yeah.
I could still see them selling this as a single out-of-box item, though. I'd buy one.
Yeah, I'd buy one too.
I mean, especially with streaming the way it is. I'm sure a lot of streamers want, of course, a lot of the big streamers are going to have theirs guaranteed, but...
Yeah. Bastards. I'm mad at anybody that's got one.
Well, I guess I shouldn't tell you that I might have one.
I'm gonna flip out.
GameStop contacts, man.
I'm gonna
Let me put it this way.
something to your face.
I will have one if someone cancels theirs. Which could happen. I don't think it will, but it could.
You know, I got to the point too, looking around trying to get one. I'm gonna buy the game to play the game on PC.
Yeah.
For the sake of getting the Pip-Boy edition, I'd buy one for one of the other systems.
You'd rebuy it again.
I would rebuy it.
You would buy the game. You would spend $65 on the game for PC, and then you turn around and what is it? 120? Is that what they're charging for it?
I think something like that. I'm not that much of a lunatic. Yes, that's how much I wanted this damn thing when I saw it, and it was sold out by the time I knew it was something they were selling. It broke my heart.
Well, that's
so
the thing.
much. I just don't know if I could do it anymore.
When they announced it, I started looking, and I just could not lock one in.
Yeah. I got one. I signed up for alerts from Amazon and GameStop and a few other sites if it came back into stock. I got one alert from Amazon at like 3 a.m. And by the time, I mean, I didn't see it when it came in. By the time I saw that I'd gotten the alert in my email and checked, they were gone.
Yeah. It's disappointing, to say the least.
And my tongue is blue because I'm drinking blue slush because it's hot outside and I'm trying
I was about to ask. I didn't know if you were watching chat. That was... I was going to say something else. We'll keep that off stream.
Oh, God.
Okay, so, I mean, yeah. TLDR on that one. Darn you, Bethesda. If you're listening, I'm still buying your game, but I don't like you very much right now.
Maybe Dallas. Maybe.
Point number 2. We didn't have any news on this game last week.
She just had to bring it back, didn't
I have to keep beating this dead horse because it deserves to be beaten. Destiny. Bungie Destiny. Oh no. So one of the more recent write-ups, in fact this was dated on July 27th, so 2 days ago. Bungie has confirmed that for their 10-year plan for Destiny, through the 3 games and 700 expansions and about $5,000 worth of content you're going to have to pay for, you can use the same character through all of it. Thank you, Bungie. Thank you.
Yeah.
That is such a selling point. You know what? Everything that I've said bad about Destiny up to this point, I take all of it back because this is the turnaround point. This is when I get back into the game. The fact that I can take my same guy that I started the first game with and play all the way through in a loot grind game.
It's astounding.
You played Diablo 1.
Yes.
And you played Diablo 2.
Yes.
And you haven't played as much 3, but you've played a decent amount of Diablo 3.
Yes. And
Could you
Borderlands and, you know.
Yeah, but could you imagine in Diablo 1, 2, and 3 playing the same character throughout the entire game over and over and over again for 10 years? Because that's about the run of Diablo 1 through 3, about 10 years-ish.
Yeah.
So you make one character and that's all you play.
Diablo's a fun game and all, but
in fact,
the barbarian class.
How many barbarians did you make through Diablo 2? How many barbarians did you go through?
I had barbarians. I had a toolkit of barbarians basically. I had barbarians for different purposes. I had a PvP
Yeah.
barbarian. I had a loot hunting, high magic find barbarian. I had another barbarian that was just strictly made to be able to just slaughter NPC enemies as well as possible. And then I had some other weird builds that were just trying oddball crap
You
with
were
the
a,
barbarian. So
I
probably
remember
5 or 6.
your first of the PvPs was the one with the damn blink ring that was annoying as shit. That was so terrible. Teleporting a teleporting barbarian was not fun.
It was very effective for
Especially
PvP.
since I was playing sorcerers and I'd be like, hey, I'm getting away from you to cast, and you're next to me and I'm dead. Thank you.
Oh, Ice Nova, I'll blink inside of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then leap strike from 1 billion miles away.
Yeah.
My problem with this, Bungie, and I know you're listening to the cast. I know you care. Yeah, I really think I should get a job at Bungie.
You know what? I should too.
I really think we'd be better PR people than their PR people. So, Bungie, if you're looking to hire someone that doesn't release stupid shit like this, let me know. I'll put my
You can
email at the end.
you can throw money at us.
In fact,
We'll get on the screen.
there you go, Bungie. Throw throw the res. I'll throw a res or throw an email my way, and I'll send you my resume.
Yep.
No, seriously, this is. If it were just this and it wasn't all the other stuff going on, then I would say this is still a pretty poor sales pitch for a game that really has no content in it. It's a loot grind game without your loot doesn't super affect your build your skill build. Not like
No.
in Diablo where you have items that specifically enhance things left and right. Now I don't know. Are there any? There's
There
minor
are
ones.
there are, but it's not
It's
they're not massive amount of things.
right.
And it's typically only, from what I've seen up to this point, only exotics. Well, then you have the whole other issue of you can only carry one exotic weapon and one exotic piece of armor at any given time. So the type of combinations of things that you can come up with and put together are really shot to shit.
Did they ever fix? Maybe I don't know if Phil's still in here. I know he plays a lot. Did they ever fix the heavy ammo bug? I know it was in there up to about a month ago, where if you died, you would lose heavy ammo for no reason whatsoever.
Last I remember when I played, which was probably about a month ago, no. Yeah.
Apparently, the bugs will last all 10 years too. That's the you keep your character and you keep all the bugs associated with the game. Now, I love this Destiny engineering lead, Luke Timmons. You have a lot of Lukes over there. Explain that Bungie recognizes players have made significant time and monetary investments in their characters. How nice, Bungie. You realize that people have spent an exorbitant amount of money on your shitty game and spent a lot of time, and so you're going to allow them to carry that one character through the whole thing. That is so nice. You know, here's the deal. It's probably because the whole story for the 10 years of Destiny releases could have fit on the first game. And they cut it up in 3 segments. And they cut those up into 3 segments each. And that's your initial media launch and then your 2 expansions. Or 3 expansions, however many they're going to have for each one. I guess it's 3 for each.
Yeah, that's 3. But
If you read the comments section to this this article and every other Bungie article or Destiny article I've seen, I haven't seen one positive comment from anybody. Not that message boards are usually filled with positive, but I don't even see anyone defending it. I haven't seen one defense for this game. Not one. I mean,
they may not be commenting because they may be afraid. There are people that
no
are
one's
still
afraid.
defending.
No, not freaking. Okay, I know there are people that defend it, but I love the first comment. Maybe in 10 years I can play the whole game for a nominal fee. After I've bought the 40 other DLC for a couple grand, then they'll give me a free shader. So exciting. I mean, I don't know. This is I hate to
Great
say it.
stuff.
I hate to say it, but Bungie screwed up whenever they got away from Microsoft. Something about Microsoft kept Bungie in line, and ever since they parted ways, they have just made one blunder after another. They're still making money, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
they definitely need some new PR guys, and everyone needs to close their mouth and not comment. The guy that talked about throwing money at the screen, he should
He's the
have
best ever.
he should have just I don't know. I wouldn't have kept him employed. I don't care how high up he was. That's not the kind of PR you want ever.
And I only read transcripts of that whole exchange. I wish I would have watched a video of it. It sounded like he kept getting questioned about why the hell they were doing what they were doing with the game and got flustered
That
and
is
broke.
that's exactly. I didn't see it, but yeah, that's what
That's
happened.
how it came across. Like he got flustered and broke and said something really inflammatory,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
pretty much because he's not an adult that can do his job
Yeah.
and take questions seriously. I'm sorry. When you release a game that's not done from day one, that's the kind of questions that are going to get thrown your way. When you initially say we're going to have this grand narrative and it's a story based FPS and it's going to do all this, and then you have 10 hours of story, and immediately a couple months later release an expansion pack for $20 that's got 2 more hours worth of story in it. Deal with it,
Yeah.
buddy. Deal with it. Bungie, thank you. Back on Rage again. We will move on from that. This is a piece of news that I am excited about, despite the fact. By the way, this is not part of the topics that I sent, but the Wii U crossed 10 million units this month,
Ah,
which I wonder how many people went out and bought a Wii U after Mr. Iwata passed away. I'd be interested in knowing that figure.
that would be very, very interesting to see uh,
Um,
how big of a spike there was. You know there was.
Probably. And the thing about the Wii U is it's been considered a failed system. 10 million units? No, it's nowhere near PS4 or Xbox is going to be. I don't know where they're at currently. They've probably both passed that up. The Wii U's been out a year and a half longer.
Yeah.
But still, if you go to most people and you ask them about the console that they want to have fun on, it's going to be the Wii U because the games are just more fun. Now, they're not graphically on par, and they have plenty of other issues, especially if you're a streamer, or a Let's Player.
Yeah.
Long story short, Square Enix, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but during a press conference this week, I think it was Monday, they have all but confirmed that they are developing Dragon Quest X and 11 for North American launch. Now, Dragon Quest X is already out in Japan and has been for a while. It's an MMO, console MMO. There weren't plans initially to bring it to North America, but apparently with the launch of the NX, or whatever it's going to change to after it gets out of its code name base, Dragon Quest X and 11 are going to be Wii U and Nintendo NX games. And
Yeah.
PS4, by the way.
Yeah, and I was going to ask if when you looked into this, if you had seen information one way or the other. I saw definite confirmations for 11 for the PS4, but I didn't necessarily see them for 10.
Mm-mm. 10 is Wii only. 10 is Nintendo
Yeah,
only.
that's kind of what I was
Now here's
thinking.
the deal. You want to find interesting? I looked through Wii U Square releases, North America. There's only one.
When what is it?
Deus Ex.
Okay, well,
One.
yeah.
Talking about a company that started off making RPGs solely for Nintendo. There is one Wii U North American release made by Square, and that's not even made by them. That's outsourced. That's not Square Home. That's someone else. It's been a long time since I played that game. This could be really cool. If Square gets back into making for Nintendo again, which I would love to see, we start going back into possibly a new Super Mario RPG and a couple of those other old school Square franchises. They're already trying to resurrect Final Fantasy VII with the reboot slash remake slash reimagining. What else could come out? I would love to see a new 6. 6 could use some polishing.
Yeah. And not like do a weird like chibi reskin like they did for
No.
mobile.
Yeah, no. That would be bad. But and maybe
Yeah.
some new IPs. I don't know. That's really cool to me. I'd love to see Square developing for Nintendo a lot again instead of just porting stuff over, which is what the Deus Ex one was. It's a port.
Yeah.
Um, I'll probably get an NX day one. I'm just gonna. I did not pick up the Wii U day one. I waited a year, I guess. And that being said, I think I have 4 games for it. 3, 4. The one it came with, which was Mario Brothers. Then I have Smash Brothers, and Monster Hunter, and Mario Kart. So I bought a lot for that system. Now Xenoblade X comes out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The Shin Megami Fire Emblem crossover, and a couple others, and I have some Virtual Console purchases. So it's not that I haven't used the system, but if I'm just saying this now, if Nintendo can get third-party developers back in on their systems, they could take off.
Yeah. I mean,
You don't have to have the best graphics out there.
No, and that's been proven time and time again. And I mean, even look at a lot of these indie games that come out that end up being so damn good, and they actually on purpose go back and use 8-bit and 16-bit stuff that
Yeah.
style, because they want to stylize it that way. They don't have to go that route, and it's about the gameplay.
Yeah.
One that springs out in my mind personally are the 2 Hotline Miami games.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're selling because people like murdering everyone or. No, I know they're fun.
I find
They're
them
bit
terribly
racy.
fun, and I feel like whenever you get through one of those levels that's been giving you fits, it's just like, yes, screw you, I'm the best.
And there are some towards the end of them that are
Oh yeah,
rough.
yeah.
Rough. I don't think I've beat the second one yet, actually, now that I think about it.
The second one is interesting in so many different ways that you can beat it with all the different characters and such.
All right. I am not and we've talked about mobile games. I'm not a mobile game fan. I really don't care about the Ouya, but I do care about Razer. I have several Razer products, and I've never had anything bad to say about Razer. In fact, and I may be wrong, but Razer may be the first gaming PC peripheral company that I can think of.
I remember Razer coming out with gaming mice, high-end gaming mice, before anybody else had ever heard of that being a thing. And this is before laser mice. It still had a ball on the bottom of it. I think they were the first name in that kind of stuff.
I mean, that we're talking about back when I got my first Windows PC, which was 96. I think they were, man, of 95. They already had advertisements out in Computer Gaming World at that time, so that's going way back. Now, there's a lot of people that aren't big fans of Razer. A lot of people that I know just personally say, "Oh, they're not manufactured well." I think you've said that at one time or another.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not the most massive Razer fan. Granted, I have not given a wide variety of their products a chance after having a few issues with had a mouse. I mean, this is back when I first started playing CS. Had issues with a mouse real early on, and had issues with the keyboard real early on, and said to hell with it. And I've never given them a second shot.
I still have my first Razer mouse, and it's 10 years old now, I guess. And I went through other mice since then that didn't last anywhere near as long. So, I mean, I think it's one of those things where you can always get bad products.
See, and where I would say, on the other hand, I'm kind of have become a Logitech fanboy. I know plenty of people that talk shit about Logitech products. So
I've had Logitech mice too, and I put my mice through some pretty heavy, quote unquote testing. And I have yet to have a mouse from either Razer or Logitech die on me. Now, I did have a laser go out on one of my Logitech, that first run of the wireless laser mice they did.
The G6 or G9?
It wasn't
No,
9. I guess it was
no, the 9 or G7.
Yeah, maybe that was it. It wasn't
Yeah,
9.
because
I
I
know
had
that.
that one as well.
And my laser
Had-
went out. It actually went out after the warranty period was up. I think it had a 1 year warranty on it, or it may have been 2 years. It went out. I contacted them, and they still replaced it.
That's
So that was really nice of them. I've never had any Logitech products. Honestly, Logitech's a great company too. I use Logitech. I've always used a Logitech webcam. I've gone through several mice, and I've got headsets, and I've never had a problem with any of their stuff either. But I don't know. Razer Razer does a lot of gaming outreach as well. I don't know. I like Razer. They sponsor a lot of esports stuff. But anyway, as far as the Ouya goes, it was acquired for roughly in the $10 million range, even though they haven't confirmed the exact figure. And this is only for software assets. It's not for the hardware platform itself, which is very strange. I'm assuming they're just trying to go the cheap way out. What's interesting about this is that the Ouya was a kick-funded system, and they did not do well, I don't think, in its initial run after
no,
clearing Kickstarter.
no, it did not at all.
So they made an initiative where they did some outreach to developers and basically matched half of their development costs, up to about $1 million, looks like. Well, those contracts were just nulled when Razer bought them out. But Razer has gone ahead and said that it's going to pay the outstanding debt. It's about $620,000 to some of these third-party developers, which I think is very nice of them because they don't have to. That contract was signed by whoever the head of Ouya is, and technically Razer doesn't have to do this.
Yeah.
But good guy Razer. I mean, you got the money. That's not the
Yeah,
problem.
I got the money. The only thing I question is there's really a good investment for them, you know?
Well, mobile gaming. Let's look at Square Enix. Their entire E3 development was on mobile freaking gaming. So, Dallas,
I still don't get it,
the
but
Ouya is an Android gaming console. I don't know any other way to put it. It plays games off the Android market on your TV. So, and it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $80 or something like that. It's like a PS TV, if I remember correctly.
yeah. Didn't they have a handheld variation to it too? Or am I thinking the Nvidia Shield?
Yeah, you're thinking Shield.
Um,
Yeah, the Ouya it's just a little box, a little square, plastic-looking piece of shit.
yeah. I remember reading about it when it was coming out and didn't care.
Yeah,
To be blunt.
it's a mobile game. Okay, the only point of mobile game is that you can play it when you're on the go and you don't have your TV in front of you. It's gonna have shitty resolution. Why would you want to play that on TV to begin with? It's just a dumb idea to me.
Yeah.
Whatever. Some people bought it. Some people are developing for it, so good for them.
Well, and it got kickstarted, so I mean,
Well,
there
and
were enough people that were interested in it.
here's why Razer wants it. They're launching something called the Cortex for Android TV. They're going to incorporate this into it and pull the entire Ouya store into it. So, again, another company going big on the mobile market. It's going to be... I've actually seen some articles in the last few days, and I haven't read enough to make this a topic yet, but might in the future. Some people are predicting another video game crash like the 80s because of mobile gaming. Because of all the money being poured into mobile gaming development, and if people stop supporting it, you're going to have millions and millions of dollars completely wasted, and another landfill is going to be opened up, and all this garbage is going to be shoveled into.
Well,
except it's all digital now.
It's all, yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like, yeah, it's all digital,
So
we can't come back 30 years later and hunt for ET.
I mean, we could.
Well,
I'm sure there's another landfill somewhere with an ET cartridge in it. The one you threw away.
no, I didn't throw them away, man. That's what's even more depressing.
Oh, the one that
Let my
got
parents
flooded
sell
out,
that
or
shit in a yard sale.
well, okay, the one you lost. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Think of how cool you could have been. You could have been streaming ET.
Could have been streaming ET. Could have been streaming Missile Command. I like them some Missile Command.
I've got my
Frogger.
television. We can play
The classic Pitfall.
the old Pitfall. Oh God, that's
My favorite was jumping over the alligators. You could land on the back of their head and they couldn't bite you.
what was his name?
The Pitfall guy's name?
Yeah,
Shit, I don't remember.
Harry.
Did they present as it was
Harry.
Harry.
Yep.
Such a great name for a great hero.
Oh well. Another high spot in my day. The Doom. It's a reboot. It's not even a reimagining. It's a full reboot. They've now. I think they had said that originally, but I didn't really trust them because id has not done much lately.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, isn't it? I thought it was. I thought this was that Bethesda was involved in this.
Well, I mean, id's involved at some level, is what I mean. I'm not saying that id's doing the development, but id's doing all the press release. I can tell you that. A couple of notes that give me hope. I'm really worried about this because Doom, as I've said before, is my franchise. What I started playing PC. That is something I am just big on. And I think they had at QuakeCon they were talking about it. Now let's talk about 60 frames or 1080 at 60 frames for a second, Skiven Himes. How important is that to you in a shooter?
Very, to me, very important. Other people may not agree with me, but I feel like it makes a big difference. I mean, just to bring up two sour titles, but Call of Duty Advanced Warfare runs at 60 FPS. Look left to right and try to pick up images on the screen and see clearly what the hell is passing as you pan as fast as you can, and then do it in Destiny, where Destiny runs at 30. To me, it makes a big difference.
Oh, I mean, I agree. I didn't ask you because I disagreed, because I completely agree.
Yeah, there's some people though that don't think they think 30's fine and 720's fine and all that stuff's fine. I'm spoiled.
Well, that does have something to do with it, but I find it funny that that's now a PR sales point. Oh, we're going to run it at 60 frames per second. Well, you should. Why are you not? Why all the consoles are spec'd out for 60 frames at this point. So
well, and with a lot of the One releases, granted I haven't looked at them here recently, but that's been a big issue of people that argue in the console wars, is that a lot of the One releases aren't getting 60 frames, they're getting 30.
When I say consoles, I'm going to be a total fanboy here, and this is a complete flip-flop from last generation, but when I say consoles, I mean PS4, the real console. It pains me to say that, because I've always been an Xbox supporter, but no, you're right. They've had nothing but problems with a lot of stuff. Now, PS4's had a couple of issues, but nowhere near as much. Yeah. In a third-person game, you can get away with 30 frames. First-person, I don't know how you can do that anymore.
No.
At least for a Twitch shooter. And that's what they're saying this is going to be. Back to Twitch shooter mechanics.
Yeah. And then to take it a step further, granted, I mean, this is not going to be a possibility for the PS4, but to me, if assuming you have a display that refreshes fast enough for you to be able to see and get the benefit from it, I'd like to see more than 60. But that's really only a reality on PC.
Well, yeah, well, and higher resolutions than 1080 as well.
Right.
But, I would say you get more, the higher up you get, the more diminishing returns you get. I think 60 is a fair medium point. They should at least aim for 60. If you can squeeze more out than that, fine. But optimize for 60. Anyway, that's one of their sales things. We're definitely going to get 60 frames per second. Okay, well, you don't really have an excuse not to, so I don't. You should. That
Yeah.
should just be a quick yes. It should be a confirmation of, not a look how great we are. We're going to do this. Two totally different things.
Yeah. Something that, however, that does kind of make put some question marks in the back of my mind about them stating that as a selling point is that as a selling point is pretty much only a selling point in the console world. So it makes me wonder, or makes me really hope that because I'm going to get the game for PC.
Yep.
I would prefer to get it for PC. I really hope we don't end up getting a bad port for the PC side.
Well, they haven't spoken specifically on that yet, but just from the tone of what. Now, I'm going to read another quote here. This is about, and this actually makes a lot of sense to me. So, kudos to them for saying this. With all of the focus going into esports right now, and all the development for pros, and all the development for the money that comes from esports, I don't remember this guy's name. It's one of the. He said, "We're not developing Doom specifically with how we address esports. There's tons of moments, even just watching the multiplayer matches at QuakeCon, where that's very esports moments in it. Really just illustrates how esports can be born out of that. We're looking on how to entertain millions of people on their couches every day." That couches makes me worry a little bit.
Yeah, that it made me worry some as well because when I read that, you know what I thought of? I thought of Doom 3.
Well, and that's funny to bring up because Doom 3 last, I think last, was it last show or the one before that where we were asked? It was last show because it was
Last
Charcoal
show
that asked
talking
that
about what
question.
genre or title we think is
Yeah,
falling
I
furthest.
blame Doom 3 for the death of Twitch shooters. Story in an FPS is just so unnecessary for a hardcore shooter. Now, story, if you want to make a blend, a hybrid with an RPG element to it, like BioShock or something like that,
Yeah.
great. But damn, we haven't had just a straight up shooter in forever. That's all I want. And Call of Duty is not it. Call of Duty is too it's
No.
realistic. I don't want realistic. I want to carry around a Gatling gun and tear people in half with it. And
I mean, there's been a few, but they just really have left so much to be desired. Hard Reset, Prey 2, Shadow Warrior, but they all have just felt empty to me for some reason. And I'm a huge shooter fan. I've tried them all, not finished them all.
well, I
'Cause they
find
weren't
it
worth
interesting that we have a new Unreal Tournament coming out, which vies with Doom for me as far as shooters go, as one of the greats.
Yeah,
Now here's the thing though, when you go back and look at Doom, and like I said, I started out my PC gaming on Doom. It came out before all the other ones, so it was a lot more simplistic. You didn't have up and down aiming. You didn't have realistic movement. Everything was
it felt skatey. Is how
yeah,
I
it was. It was because they had to focus on what the net code could allow at the time. You're talking about 14.4 modems. Didn't really allow for a lot. You know?
dialing into somebody else's connection at a 9800 baud rate.
Yeah. I mean,
Mom, don't answer the phone.
I had two phone lines. I was lucky enough for that. My parents got so tired of me taking up the phone line, they just got a second phone line.
That happened, but it wasn't until much later. It was just the internet.
Did you watch the video that was attached to that article that I had sent you? Or I don't know if I sent the article.
I didn't get the link.
They had a video of, and of course it's all CG rendering. It's not in-game footage, but I saw some classic Doom monsters, and that's enough to sell the game for me. it may end up bad, and I'm gonna be very upset if it does. But Doom, man, Archvile.
Yeah.
They showcased an Archvile in it, and oh my god, I want to go back. In fact, I'm really fighting the urge not to go back on the weekends and stream Doom 2.
Stream some Doom 2.
Stream some Doom 2, because fuck, I love that game so much. So we'll see. I just hope it's more killing and less story.
Yeah.
I don't want the ambiance and the scare tactics and the imps that look super hyper realistic. I want straight shooter again. Just that's it.
Yeah.
Probably won't sell for shit, but you know. Our last topic of the day before we get to viewer questions, and this isn't really a topic, I'm just bringing it up for those that are unaware of it. Summer Games Done Quick is going on right now. It started Sunday. I've always been a big supporter of the Games Done Quick family. I donate pretty much every year. You can find them at Twitch TV/Games Done Quick. It's a speed running group. They're doing some great stuff.
Yeah, I think they had finished up a Sonic 2 race shortly before we came on that I was watching, and we're getting ready to go with, I think, a Majora's Mask speed run.
Oh, and I'm missing that one too. Yeah, they tend to do the great ones at night when we're streaming, unfortunately. And super unfortunately, the Chrono Trigger speed run is on Saturday.
Oh,
so
crap.
we will miss it. We'll have to watch a rerun of it.
Yeah.
The last run of the actual thing is going to be a Chrono Trigger 100% speed run by Essentia and Puexel, which are two really amazing speedrunners. I'm sure they will explain every trick. I'm actually, skipping time, going to think about picking up Chrono Trigger and trying to speedrun it. It's the only game I can think of that I have enough passion to actually play multiple times in a single, day.
Yeah.
They're sitting at, I think, a 6-hour estimate. So 100%, that's all side quests in 6 hours is insane to me. Now, I've seen parts of the speedrun before from about 4 years ago. They use a bunch of tactics to despawn enemies that are in the way and skip as many battles as possible. It's crazy.
The speed runs in general are crazy. Some of the stuff they come up with.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I thought it was on Sunday. It's not.
One of the things that's so crazy to me is it's not for Chrono Trigger, but for I've watched quite a few Final Fantasy VI speed runs, and how they count steps and shit to help control and minimize the number of random encounters, and who the hell figured that out in the first damn place?
Some Japanese person somewhere. That's what, if you listen to them talk, most of these speedrunners have counterparts in Japan, and that's somehow I guess that's all they do. I don't know if they go through coding in the game or what, but that's I never see speedrunners post, or I never see these Japanese speedrunners post gameplay footage. But every time I've heard someone giving a shout out to a particular strategy, they're shouting out to someone from Japan that sped on the game in the past.
Yeah, I've kind of heard similar things. Just referring to somebody's name, and then somebody else asked who it is, and he said, "Oh, it's one of the Japanese speedrunners."
Yeah, it's like a shadow group or something over there that just it takes games apart for some reason. In the past, they used to do a Doom 64 speedrun, which was super entertaining because you think you've flown through a level before. I mean, it's crazy how fast they go.
Yeah.
Finding invisible walls,
One speed run that I've watched multiple times that you can find on YouTube that just is absolutely mind blowing to me is a Quake 1 speed run.
Yeah.
And this dude blows through the whole game and not like it. I think it's down to under an hour now. Every level on every episode.
It's just
he doesn't really kill anything.
It's just rocket jumping through the entire level, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It was like Defrag, the mod for Quake 3, which its whole purpose was to learn how to strafe jump and rocket jump really good and do tricks. Well, they've been able to do this and just fly through every level. You can't even tell what the hell is going on. It's just textures panning across the screen in front of your face. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it is. But SGDQ is charity only, so every bit of the money, I think $3 from every sub, and every dollar donated goes towards a medical charity. It's the same one every year. It's Doctors Without Borders. So really good cause. Lots of gaming, in the best way possible, gaming freaks, because that's what they are. They tear these games apart. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I watched the Zelda Twilight Princess run. I think that was Monday night. And I mean, that game took me 30 plus hours to beat, and I think he beat it in under 5. Just insane. So go check that out. I'm actually hosting it whenever I'm not broadcasting. So during my workday, I think I tweeted it out, but during the workday, I sit in my channel hosting. So if you get bored, you can always come chat with me. All right.
Don't talk to that guy.
Oh, that's not very nice. So, viewer questions from last week. We got two. First one is if you could pick one game to forget everything about so that you could replay it blindly, what would it be? And that is from our own very own Sax.
One, for me, that's a really hard question to answer, but I have to give it to I've thought about before, and you might catch me on a different day, and I might say something different. That's how hard of a question it is to answer. But I would have to give an edge in first time playthroughs to games that kind of fall into a horror genre. And I BioShock, the first time I went through it was something special to me. Um, to get through it the second time, and it's just like, okay, that they're going to pop out over here and derp. But that's one that I would throw out there.
Well, that's a very story focused. You're not supposed to know what's going on in that one, definitely.
Right. And then just the horror element, I mean,
So,
between jump scares and then building up suspense and all that, once you know what's going to happen there, that's why I kind of said I almost feel like I need to give the edge to some kind of game with a horror element.
so it's funny because we both tackled this question in different ways because I thought about it from a different angle. You're talking about re-experiencing the game and being able to pull every bit of the enjoyment out of it that you did the first time again.
Yeah.
I went off on a different tangent or a different direction with this actually. If I could replay one game again without remembering anything, I would say I'd have to pick Mass Effect 1. Uh, for different reasons than you just chose.
It's still a solid choice, even for the reasons that I picked.
If you wanted to go that direction, but I'm actually
it's a
not.
solid choice either way.
The reason why I would love to play Mass Effect 1 again is I loved that game when it came out. I remember playing the last 6 or 7 hours of it straight until 4 o'clock in the morning on a work day because I couldn't stop. Because the last about 2.5, 3 hours is extremely intense. However, and it is a great game, I'm not knocking the game, I feel like I got swept up in it at the time. I don't think it's as good as I remember it being. So my reason for replaying it would be to solidly re-ascertain how much I actually liked the game and how much is just me looking back saying, wow, I really liked that game. Because the game was very boring at many parts in the game.
Driving you didn't like frozen deserts in the Mako, just featureless planets.
The shitty driving controls on the planets that you pretty much had to go through to get certain things. A lot of the shooter elements in it were not done well at the or they were done as well as they could at the time because it kind of established itself as its own genre. But it's I don't feel like it's as good a game as I thought it was at the time. The story's still great, but I really feel like at the time I'd have given it a 9.5, and for a while there I actually put it on tied with Chrono Trigger as my favorite RPG. That's how highly I thought of Mass Effect 1.
I did not know you thought that highly.
Yes, I did. The last 3 hours of the game make it that good. But looking back on it now, I go, well, no, wait a minute. I just played through Chrono Trigger here recently with you. The game holds up extremely well in almost every area. I would still give Chrono Trigger a 9.9 out of 10 because I don't think anything can be perfect, but I probably would have given Mass Effect like a 9.7 at the time. I really don't think it would score over an 8, if that high, now, if I replayed it again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really feel that way. I really do.
And your reasoning for wanting to replay it and asking these questions is very interesting. And kind of thinking about it myself, I'd never put Mass Effect as high on my list as Chrono Trigger. It's definitely a top 5, but I wouldn't even give it a number 2. But out of the 3 Mass Effects, in my mind, having run through, I played Mass Effect 1 to completion twice, Mass Effect 2 to completion twice, Mass Effect 3 to completion once. And after taking some time away and whatever, and then thinking back on it, something that always pops in my mind is that I think I like one the most. Not to say it had great shooting mechanics and graphics and some other things that they did, making giving a more cinematic, more rich storytelling feel that they did in the later ones. But for some just various reasons, I think it's the one I enjoyed the most. I think, what you brought up, I may replay it and change my mind.
Well, I mean, it's impossible to. You have to have your memory erased about it, or of it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it is the first part in the narrative, and it sets the other two games up. So it's a rough question to answer. I think I'm a fan of two the most.
I think that's where generally people fall, is two. So many people were pissed off with the ending to three.
I actually thought the ending to three was perfectly fine, and I told you that at the time. I
Yeah.
had no problem with the ending.
I didn't really have an
I think
issue with
people over. You know, now the one thing that I didn't like about three, as far as the ending goes, is all the choices you make up to the end don't matter, because you just make a final choice at the end. But I really think people get way too caught up in this. Oh, it's a game of choice. Oh, it's choices. Look, choice is great and everything, but it doesn't work in every game. You don't need it in every game. The dynamic
Yeah.
conversations. I remember watching Mass Effect 1 trailers before the game came out, and they scrapped a lot of the ideas with conversations that since have been brought back. You were supposed to, in the first one, be able to interrupt a conversation someone was having with you with a response, and it would alter opinions, and it would alter stuff. I think that actually came into 3. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played it. I know it's coming to other games, but I think 3
Yeah.
had some kind of interruption thing you could do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we agree Tally's the best character in the entire series?
Definitely.
I mean, I'd say that.
Definitely.
I love Tally.
And
That was
out of
probably
the Mass
all-
Effect series, Tally was waifu every time. For me, for me.
Oh no, Liara.
Yeah,
Tally
I don't
wasn't in
know.
the third one long enough. That was my big problem with 3. She
Yeah.
came in a little late. Okay. Before we get in trouble there. Second question, and I don't know how much input you're going to be able to give on this because I know you haven't played it. What are y'all's thoughts on Elder Scrolls Online versus any other popular MMO, and why do you feel that way? And that was
I'll go
asked.
ahead and get my input out of the way because it's going to be short. Pretty much everybody I talked to about it told me don't play it. It's the God honest truth. I even in conversation, I think it was with you, said, one of the things I really loved about like Skyrim and Oblivion and whatnot
Exploration.
is just being able to explore. Maybe I'll never max a character out, but just be able to wander around and check this world out.
Yeah.
And you said, don't get it. So I never got it.
So, yeah, this was asked by Dallas, by the way. So thank you for the question, Sax, and thank you for the question, Dallas. I played Elder Scrolls. Now, granted, my knowledge of Elder Scrolls is from launch date till about 8 months in, because that's when I played it. So I haven't played it recently. I pre-ordered this. I baited this. My sister pre-ordered and baited, and her husband, and so I had a group of 6. This is one of the few MMOs that I started out with a full group of 6 to play with. We were really pumped. We were all big Skyrim fans, all big Oblivion fans. My sister and I had been playing the Elder Scrolls series since Daggerfall. That was the second one, going back to the old days of PC. So I'm with you. I could understand your curiosity as far as, hey, it's an MMO. You get to roam around a huge world just like in Skyrim. So it's basically just going to be Skyrim with other people in it.
That's what I was hoping for, and that's what I wanted if that's the route they went.
The problem is, I feel like they could have done that and it would have worked. But no, they went the path of you are the only person that can save the world. And the guy that just spawned in behind you. And the guy that's the guy that's naked over there, screaming at the top is like, you can't turn you are the only legendary person in the world into an MMO if everyone else is doing the same shit.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It loses all amount of immersion when you do that.
God forbid, you actually want to have some serious role play.
One of the things something I thought was really hilarious in the very first part of the game, you meet this character called the Prophet, who is your guide throughout the story, and he's this wizard, so he can teleport around and summon himself wherever. So you're sitting where you spawn, and he's talking to you, and you can just see multiple versions of him talking to everyone else around you because he's having the same conversation with them too.
Oh
It
God.
that is how the game would be summed up to me. It had so much potential. Getting off of the part where the story was completely ludicrous for that reason. Combat was okay, boring kind of in my opinion. You can't have boring combat in MMO. First off, it just doesn't work. They didn't let you slot enough skills. They didn't make the skills as fun as Guild Wars, where you do have a limited number of slots to actually equip skills. And the skill trees, at least at launch, I don't know how they are now, but the skill trees at launch gave you very little incentive to go outside of take a root skill, a heal skill, and a bunch of damage, and maybe a stealth. And every character could heal. That's the archetype they went for. It just didn't work. And the other thing that I was really big looking forward to was the world PvP. They had these kingdom PvPs. I played a bunch of them, and it was always the biggest, laggiest spam fest mess that I've ever seen. It made Alterac Valley look like it was people walking in a line. That's how chaotically laggy and dumb it was.
Wow.
What else is there to say? There were problems with, and I know there still is because I have a friend that still plays it, problems with monster tagging, where a quest boss would have 500 corpses of it around itself because when you make every player need to kill that monster, you've effectively locked every player into one little area, and whoever tags it first, so you have everyone, when that monster spawns, everyone throws a skill, and it's whoever hits it first. Dump games, stop. Please.
Yeah.
Please stop doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
They even had that in WoW. It wasn't a horrible thing
Yep.
from all my WoW experiences, but I played WoW at launch and pretty much played in almost any MMO at launch that has even just fetch quests. Go kill 9 boars. I think the boars are extinct, guy. Like
well,
everybody.
at launch and every time an expansion came out, until they put phasing in, because
Yeah.
Burning Crusade, Hellfire Peninsula, when you first spawned, with the first week, you couldn't do any quests unless you were part of a big ass guild and you could lock stuff down because, like you said, there's only 30 boars in one area, and if you have 500 people hunting those 30 boars, they're going to be dead.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know the solution to that. The phasing fixes it for that thing, but the problem with phasing is it's extremely boring because then you lose the MMO aspect of seeing 100 other people running around.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask first, by phasing, are you referring to like the same thing that like Terra does, where you got instanced versions of the same
No.
world map?
Now, that, and I just saw that come up in chat too. The channel idea, that works for me. I'm okay with that. Phasing in WoW, everyone's on the same channel, everyone's on the same server. But as you progress in quests, it changes the land around you, and you're actually physically in a different zone, even though you're still in the same zone as everyone else. Because you have it's this technology they work into their servers where you basically get an instanced zone of where you're at in the quest line with other people that are at that part in the quest line. See what I'm saying?
See.
So
okay.
if someone just arrived there and they haven't done the intro quests, they have one version of the zone. And they share that with everyone else that's in that same part of the quest line.
Yeah, so you
But
never
if-
see anybody else running around working on other stuff and everything. The world seems less alive, I would assume.
Right. Well, it seems like you're having a dynamic effect on the world because it changes around you as you do these quests. But the problem with that is if you have a friend that's 3 quests behind you, you're not going to see each other. And you have to be... It just gets confusing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Elder Scrolls Online, no. No.
No.
It just doesn't work. It's a great idea. It's probably, the thing is, did it go free to play? I can't remember.
I don't think they have subscriptions anymore, but they're still selling the game. I was in Walmart the other day and it was still on the
Okay,
shelf.
that's
So
what I meant. You still got to buy the game, but it's not subscription based. That's what I meant.
yeah, I don't think there's subscriptions
I
anymore.
mean, here's the thing. Did I get fun out of it? Yeah. Did I get $50 out of it? Probably yes. So if you're looking for something, and if it's not subscription based anymore, if you're looking for something and you want to play it as a solo game and you want the exploration aspect, the world is very fleshed out, and it does feel like running around Skyrim, but with better combat, because Skyrim's combat was less than stellar.
Yeah, and honestly, when I had first heard they were doing an Elder Scrolls Online, the combat was what my biggest fear was. Is
Yeah.
like, not to knock Skyrim. I've had tons of fun with Skyrim. I've put over 100 hours into it. I don't like that clunky. Granted, and then the other thing is I always play a melee character. I never really experimented with magic a whole lot, but the melee was so clunky, block and swing, and it was just uh, not a fan of that
Oh, I mean, I
style
completely agree.
of melee. Even though I'm about to embark on something very similar with Fallout.
I think Fallout 3 did combat better than Skyrim, to be honest with you. Even melee combat. It just
I find it to be fairly similar.
it's similar, but man,
At least you have VATS.
you have VATS, and the other. You know what the other thing is though, it wasn't designed as a melee game, whereas Skyrim was designed as a melee
As a
game.
melee
That's the
game.
problem. I mean, getting outside of the fact you could make your character broken as hell in Skyrim, which you couldn't do in Oblivion because of level blocks on stuff. Now people hated that because, oh, I leveled up this skill 5 times, now I'm leveled, and it just people are always going to complain about the games, but the combat in Skyrim was really bad, really really bad, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So,
I would
but
agree.
yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, if you like Elder Scrolls games and it's not subscription based anymore, and you want to go, it's probably not even $50 anymore. It's probably more like 30. I don't know what the current price of it is. You'll probably get at least 20 or 30 hours of enjoyment out of it, I would say, before you get bored with it. And I mean, it depends on how much that's worth to you monetarily, but
Yeah.
I myself prefer Final Fantasy 14. That's what I've been playing. The little amount of time I actually get to play games outside of stream, that's what I'm playing.
I've been playing PlanetSide again.
Again. Well, you got to get that FPS itch scratched.
Yeah, that
I don't
runs
feel
strong within me.
Yeah, I don't feel that particular one anymore these days, nearly as much. I did enjoy it on PS4 though.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff they need to work on for the social side of things, UI in general, just everything they had to simplify because you don't have a keyboard and mouse in front of you. But it still, in my opinion, plays very good.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you have questions you want to submit for next week, you can either tweet them to myself or Skibbenheims, or send us a Twitch message with them, or shoot me an email at the email address listed below. As always, we appreciate y'all's help with coming up with topics to talk about. Other than that, what's so you haven't gotten to stream in the last couple days because of work stuff.
Work stuff, and because I had to take off today to deal with AC stuff, I've got more work stuff I have to do tomorrow. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just
Ouch.
call it for tomorrow as well, and just try and get back into the swing of things Friday. It's just I have way too much to do.
It happens.
It's this time of year at work.
You should still be pretty close to the end of Persona 4, though, right?
Yeah, oh, yes. I'm very close to the end of Persona 4, and then after that, and here I am about to speak as me under my normal schedule, not missing days because I'm having to work late and this, that, and the other. I'll be doing the Fallout 3, Mike Tyson's Fallout, fists only
Mike Tyson's Fallout.
run, I guess I'm gonna do that Tuesdays and Thursdays. Fridays, I'm gonna play Persona 3 FES, and then Saturdays we'll be doing our couch co-op. So that's kind of what I've got planned for the future.
All right. And for myself, immediately following this, we're going to pick up Suikoden 3. I think we have about 2 sessions left. We should finish that sometime tomorrow, I think. If that's the case, then we'll be starting Final Fantasy X on Friday. And then Saturday, starting at 2 o'clock, nice and early, 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time, Skibbenheims and I are going to couch co-op Legend of Mana.
I'm really looking forward to that. I can't say it enough. It's a game I've wanted to play forever and have just never been able to for a plethora of reasons. So
yeah, well, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's going to couch co-op, so it'll be fun just for that reason. But you've never played this particular one. You've played Secret of Mana, but you never played Legend, right?
Yeah, I played a couple of them on that were the SNES releases.
This one doesn't play quite like Secret. It's
that's
still a 2D fighter, but I actually like the fighting style better. It's a little more zoomed out, and it's got better. You got different characters you control, so it's not just the same 4. Like there's many characters in it, quite a few. So that'll start at 2 Central, and that's going to go on for 10 hours, or we're going to try to go on for 10 hours. I don't know how long the whiskey will be flowing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me, and I don't know what Skibbenheim's going to drink, but
yeah, we'll figure something out.
If you can't tune in until 9 or so at night, I can't promise that we're going to be playing very well at that point, but we'll still be plugging away at it.
Or speaking very well either.
Or speaking very well. That's true. So hopefully y'all can come out at some point and enjoy us acting like fools, because I think that's where we're going to be.
Yep.
All right, so that's going to end this show. Give me a couple minutes to switch over to the PS3 and get Suikoden up and running. Skibbenheims, stay cool, man.
I'm trying.
You look a little warm over there.
Yeah, well, I'm getting prepared for the late summer games, so I can put my headband on and put me in, coach! Put me in! But nobody's listening.
They're listening. They just don't have eardrums left. Like me. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to you, sir. And we will pick this back up next Wednesday at the same time.
Yeah. Been another good one. Everybody, have a good evening.
I agree. Everyone, we'll see y'all